All right, guys. So this is a quick tutorial in Procreate. I'm going to show you guys a quick hack on uh, drawing faces in Symmetry. So right now, as an example, I've taken a picture of Rihanna from the internet. You can just see some of her features there. I have her photo listed as the very top layer. I can turn it on or turn it off. What we're going to do is we're going to first grab our pencil. Procreate recently came out with an update. But I'm going to use this nowhere else pencil. It's actually an ink, my bad. And we can change the size of the tip of the ink brush here. I'm going to go over to my canvas up here in the corner. If you don't know, they have what's called drawing guide. That's this line that you see down the middle of the screen here. You can turn it off or turn it on. So turn it on. We're going to go to edit drawing guide. And they have different options here to help you on the canvas to assist you. 2D grid. This is a hack, so we're going to use symmetry. So if you draw something on the left side of the screen, it will automatically pop up on the right and vice versa. It's creating total symmetry. I think I'm going to make the brush a little bigger here. So first, what we're going to do is I'm going to draw the head shape. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. I'm going to bring this, not to be exact, yeah, I don't like the size of that, so I'm going to go a little smaller. I'm going to start at the top. There we go. I'm going to zoom in here to kind of close the loop there, as they say. Next, I'm going to focus on the T-zone, the eyes and the nose. So what you could do, and what a lot of artists do here, is they take a pencil and they divide the face into sections. They're kind of like our guidelines. So this will be our eye guideline here. This would be the base of the nose. This would be the mouth. And then like the bone for the chin. I also like to put little feature lines in here to help me out. So I know that the cheekbones are here. I would know that the bridge of the eyebrow is right there. Um, and I know my eyes are right underneath the eyebrows here. All right, so we're going to go back to our, actually, I made a small mistake. I'm going to duplicate this layer and I'm going to go in here and erase that guideline because I have the picture on a different layer. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to actually erase. And we'll do a paintbrush here. Do a large circle. And we'll use this to erase. Oh, there we go. So now this is on a separate layer. And I'm going to erase the picture from this layer here, the layer 7 there. I'll turn it on. Yeah, so we'll just erase that. That way it's on a completely separate layer and they don't affect each other. All right, so getting back into here, we're going to go to our assisted layer. We're going to grab our ink brush and nowhere else. Right now, we're going to focus on the nose. Now, I'm not going to do a complete trace job here because I mean, if you're still learning, you're tracing, but right now we're just free forming. That will be the tip of the nose, as you can see. I'm going to go around here. So you see how everything I'm drawing is being duplicated on the opposite side. This makes drawing faces like really easy. It's like a cheat code. I'm gonna do a little bit of there on the nose. We're gonna work our way up to the bridge of the nose. Focus out. We're gonna do her eyebrows here. So I'll go straight across at maybe like a 60-degree angle here. We're gonna do a little taper point at the end. And like I said, this is not perfect. We're not looking for photorealism here. We're just learning the structure of the human face. This is a really good example. So for the eyes, whatever you draw will show up on the opposite side. And keep in mind, faces are not completely symmetrical. One side is a little different than the other on human beings. So I got a general idea. So start right here, looking for that ovular shape. Here we are. So you see how that matches the other side exactly? We're going to do her eyelid, which is typically a thin line above the eye. This is a really great brush. There we are. And you're looking at both sides, they look completely the same. A good thing about Procreate is if you create a shape and you hold it, it will create a perfect shape. So for an example, I'm going to make her eye in here. I'm going to make a circle and I'm going to hold it at the very end. So I'll do this and I'll hold right here. Now you got a perfect circle. I don't like how big that eye is, so I'm going to double tap the screen and kind of erase and start over. I want to start more right in here and pull it around. We'll stop right there. That's perfect. All right, next we could do the center of the eye right here. I don't have a brush that does that well, so I'm going to switch to a different brush here. We'll switch to the Swift brush. Actually, that doesn't look as well either. Yeah, we'll try a pen here. There we are. I actually like this pen. Let's switch over to this pen for some more of the art here. All right, so next I'm going to focus on the eyelashes. They usually poke out. Here I'll do switch the layer here. I'm going to point to red on top of it. But usually the eyelashes, they poke out from the center and they kind of flare out, kind of like a fan. And then there's usually a thick line to indicate where they start. So that's what we're going for here back on the eyes. So I'm going to switch back to my layer. I'm going to change my ink to black. Let's go back to our nowhere else brush to kind of keep a little consistency here. I'm gonna start right here. I'm going to work fan out, fan out, fan out, fan out, so on and so forth. It should be matching up on the opposite side. Now, keep in mind, you can go back and add more lashes, but you want to get that pattern in there. We're going to do the same thing for the lower eye. Again, it's going to fan out. So I'm going to start right here and I'm going to kind of fan out. We're doing that on the opposite side there. Now she does have eyeliner on in here, and that's usually indicated by that thick line underneath the eyelash. I'm going to try to go back in here, and I'm going to just get a little darker right in here and right in here on the edge here. All right, so now we're going to work our way down to the other parts of the face. I'm going to put a small mark in here just to indicate the cheekbones. Um, we're going to start right here for the lips. So this is important to get the placement right. So you're looking at this space between the bottom of the nose and the top of the lips. And it looks like it's about right here. We're going to go up and we're going to hump our way across. Do that again. There we go. And it's the wonderful thing about using this canvas that it creates what you're doing on one side. You can work on the left side or the right side. It doesn't matter because it'll just mirror it on the other side. All right, gonna go straight across here and meet at the center. I do the bottom lip here. Here we go. Now you could put some lines in here for detail, and you can go back and add that. Again, we're not shooting for photorealism here. I think I want to add some shadow in here in the nose underneath where the nostrils are. And zoom in so you can see that. For the neck, I'm just going to go right over here to those marks I made and go straight down and create a line to indicate the neck. Looks like her neck starts about right here, kind of tapers out. And then there's a line here. I'll make that line a little lighter. All right, there is a collarbone. You can indicate that a little bit right there, just suggesting it. We're going to go back up here and we're going to add ears. Her ears come out a little bit here. And then it looks like they come down about to right here where we made the mark earlier. Now the inside of the ear, you can I've always just made up pattern. I don't know how insides of ears look. Little earring here. So far, so good. I do want to go back and looks like I'm missing some eyelashes here. So we'll add the eyelashes in. All right, so we're gonna turn off our sketch underneath. That's this layer here. I'm just gonna turn it off so that those lines go away. I'm gonna turn off the pink line I used earlier. I'm gonna add a new layer on top. This is gonna be the hair. So typically with the hair, I'll show you here. What I'll do is I'll start up top here at the top of the head. Now this layer, as you just saw, is just made a mark on one side, the left. That means I have to go back and have this layer assisted, drawing assist, just like the layer underneath it. So now if I draw something, it'll show up on both sides. Just gonna touch up her eyes. It looks like we need to flatten them out a little bit. So now I want to draw like how her hair kind of looks like it's more hair on one side than the other. I'm going to turn off the assist on this layer. I'm going to go back in and just kind of draw what I see. There we are. Looks like we also need to thicken up her eyebrows just a little bit. And I forgot to turn the assist on, but you get the idea. All right, so now that I'm looking at it, it looks like the proportion is a little off for her jaw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to underneath this layer right here, the main layer that we had. I'm gonna kind of create a new jawline and then I'll erase the old one. So it looks like her jaw comes in about, that's too short, but it's like, here we are. It's a little better. I'm gonna get my erase again and we're gonna take out, oops, painting. We're gonna take out this, the eraser here. We're gonna take out that old line, the guideline here. Here we are. This is the standard eraser that I usually use, circle here. We're gonna go back to the neck. We're just gonna continue this line and finish this line here and bring it back up. For some reason, I could not get that line to all the way erase. It still kind of remains there, a little ghostly. All right, so now this is based off Rihanna. This is not Rihanna because the face, there is no resemblance. I could do another video where I show you how to trace underneath an image, but that's not what this was about. This is about learning how to use the symmetry tool to create a basic human face. So I'm gonna take that off of there. I'm gonna delete my other layer. I'm gonna delete the unnecessary layer. I want to merge this layer with this layer. I'm gonna click on this one. And I'm gonna click merge down here on the left, and it brings these two into the same layer here. All right, I'm on to take the assist off just for a moment. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna erase some of these lines in here. Whoops, take this down a little bit. We're gonna erase this line. Just cleaning it up a little bit because we're gonna fill this in a moment. There we are. Oops. We're gonna zoom in and get real close here to take away some of these unnecessary lines. And then I see a little mark here that wants to get, we need to erase here. All right, so one thing I noticed here is that this is not closed off. So I'm going to close that off. I'm going to go back to the layer. I'm going to grab my nowhere brush again, and I'm just going to zoom. I'm going to close this off. Very important to keep your line work closed. That way, if you fill it, the paint, it doesn't bleed into another part. I'm going to close both of these off. Now I'm just going to kind of freestyle some hair here, just some lines. Starting to look like an actual human being. I'm going to turn the assist back on. I'm going to kind of close this part of the eyeball here. All right, so I'm going to make this layer the reference layer in Procreate, meaning that all line work will kind of follow the guidelines set here. If you put color underneath here, it will fill in with these underneath these lines. The layer underneath here, I'm just going to title it color. This layer, I'm just going to title it inks. I'm going to go to my color layer here, and I'm going to start filling in. So we want to give her a skin tone here. I'm going to make her like a light brown color here. So you're going to drag your color from up here in the upper right corner of the screen into the face, and you're going to let go. Looks like there are some areas that didn't fill in all the way, but here, I'll show you again here. There's also an option to continue dragging your pencil right across the screen to increase the threshold. That helps fill in the color. But you're going to fine tune this anyway because filling in the color does not affect the line work above it. So you can kind of go to town and fill in any uh, white space that you see from the canvas underneath. It doesn't affect the line work, so that's really, really helpful as an artist. We're going to drag in to fill in the neck area. We're going to drag in to fill in her ears. What we want to do for hair color, I think let's do like a dark burgundy color. I'm going to drag my wheel to the left here. I'm just going to kind of feel my way, move the pencil into like kind of a light burgundy brown color. That looks good. Same thing, we're still on the color layer. We'll fill the color in, not too much of a threshold. We'll go in. Like I said, you're filling in the underneath. You can go to town here because you're not affecting the black line work above it, on the layer above it. All right, so now I'm going to change this background color to like a different color. The background color, let's see here, let's pick something maybe like a purple, like a royal color. Here, we'll do like a light purple here. All right, so you notice that the eyes were not filled and the lips were not filled. That's no big deal. We'll go back to our color layer. We'll use a white. I don't want to use super white. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to use that to fill in. You know what? We can also assist on this layer. Fill the eye in, it fills both. Fill that eye in, it fills both. Humans have, I don't know what this area, if someone could help me out in the comments, I don't know what this area of the eye is called. I forget completely, but I know it's like a light peach color. We're just gonna fill that in with our pencil. And it should fill in on both sides there. I also see a bit of color here bleeding through underneath. I'm going to fill that in as well. Yeah, we'll fill that in as well on both sides here. All right, eye color. Let's give her like a dark brown eye color. So like I said, we'll fill in and it'll fill both sides. Perfect. Now, what I usually like to do is I'll create a layer above it. You don't want this layer to be assisted because uh, highlights on eyes don't fall into symmetry. They go on the same side. So if I put a highlight here on the far left side of the eye, I got to do the same thing on this side here. That way they're both on the left. Whereas if I use the symmetry tool, it will put one on the left and one on the right. That's a bit bright, so I think I'm going to take the opacity down just a little bit. There we are. All right, we'll go back into our color layer. What color should we make her lips? I'm thinking like maybe a chocolate lipstick, or should we go with the red? Yeah, we'll do a red, like a dark matted red. We'll fill that in. Top lip, bottom lip. This looks like it could be the thumbnail for the video, guys. So I'm gonna screenshot this. There we are. I'll move that out of the way. Um, we're also going to fill in her earrings. I'm just going to do something like a basic white. Filled in both sides perfectly. All right, so now we can start adding just a few details. We're not going to go too far in here. The video is getting kind of long. I'm going to create a mask layer underneath. Well, actually, I'll undo that. This layer here should be a mask layer. So I think, let's see if I do this right. No, that's not right. Here we are. We'll do above the color layer mask. All right, so everything below this layer, which is the color layer, if we draw, it'll be on top of the color layer. This is acts as a mask. So I'm gonna take my ink brush again. I think I'm gonna do the same uh, ink brush we were using earlier, but I'm gonna increase the size here. I'm gonna do shadows here. So I'm just gonna start at the nape of the neck. Actually, I'm gonna use my selection tool too. So we'll select this shape, the bottom part for the neck. Then we'll go back to our pencil. I'm gonna create like a shadow layer here and kind of fill it in right underneath there. I'm gonna do the same thing to the face. Oh, it actually selected the hair and the face. That's why I said it's so important to close your lines. I did not close a line up here. I'm gonna go on the left side. I'm just gonna do the side of her face. You seeing how it missed that little section there. Not a huge deal. We'll go back in and clean that up later. Do some of her hair. I'm just gonna put some shadow here to show on the hair. I'll put some shadow behind her. I'm really just freestyling this at this point, guys. I don't have a reference photo. Take the selection off. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get this area that was missed. I want to get her ear. So I'm going to select the ear. I'm just going to kind of go to town in there and do the whole ear. I'm going to do some of her hair. Just adding lines in, indicating shadow. And then this is the important part. We're going to go to that clipping mask, the shadow layer. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to name it shadow. And we're going to take our opacity. We'll highlight, tap the N, and we're just going to drag the opacity to the left. As you can see on the screen, it's starting to look more like a shade or a shadow. I think somewhere right in there is good. Yeah, right in there is good. All right, we're going to do another layer. We're just going to hit plus from the color layer, and it'll be another clipping mask. This one I'm going to rename to highlights. And then these will just be white marks um, where I think highlights would fall. Usually I start typically like on the lips. Usually most people have a highlight fall somewhere in here on the lip. Um, Sometimes on the nose, typically right in here. Usually on the chin. We'll do her ear, her inner ear. And we'll do just the side of her face a little bit here. Maybe the collarbone and shoulder area. And then we'll do the hair. We'll put like some highlights on the hair. This you can kind of just freestyle lines to indicate where that hair falls. All right, and then we're the same thing. We're gonna take our end button here. We're gonna drop the opacity down a little bit. There we are. So we got about one, two, three, four, five actual layers. If you want to keep your files small, you can always delete layers that are unused because you can add them in later. But I pull that back full screen, and that's good for like a basic start. Always sign your work. I'm just gonna put my initials here in the corner, BCC, and I'll do what I typically do, Basquiat crown. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. Uh, like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all in another tutorial on the next one. You guys be safe. Peace.